Hi, welcome back to Maria's Kitchen. Today I have got a show for you. I am going to make a Mexican Capriotada. It's a traditional Mexican food. It's similar to a bread pudding, and it's usually made during April, during the Holy Week. They usually make it on Lent and Good Friday, and now even Passover is a good time to make it. I'm going to go over the ingredients with you. The very first thing you're going to need is, I'm using in this recipe a French bread, just a regular French bread, 1 loaf. You'll need some dark brown sugar, and make sure you get the dark brown sugar because it has a little more flavor than the light. Raisins, peanuts. I have some cloves here, some little cloves, Mexican vanilla, but if you don't have this, you can get some shillings or some very good vanilla, not imitation vanilla. And also you're going to need some sharp cheddar cheese. I have a 1/2 cup shredded here, and you'll need 5 cups of water, and you will need some cooking spray, and that's it. I'll be back to get it together. Okay, I want to let you know about an option. Some people use this 100% raw sugar cane from the Mexican store, but I'm choosing not to use this today because you can't always readily find this. So I'm going to go ahead and use the dark brown sugar. So I just want you to know this is an option. And today I'm using a glass 8x8 square dish. So I will be back to get started. Okay, the very first thing you're going to do is turn your flame on high. And I'm turning this flame on high. We're going to need 5 cups of water. So I've got the 5 cups of water in there. We're going to need 2 cinnamon sticks. I'm dropping those in. You're going to need 3. I'm going to put 3 cloves in. And we're going to put the 1.5 cups of brown sugar, the dark brown sugar. We're going to get this to a boil, and we're going to want this to simmer about 20 to 25 minutes. Once it comes to a rolling boil, we're going to lower it to a very low simmer, and I will be back to show you how to cut up the bread. Okay, I'm going to show you how I cut the bread. Now, I know a lot of people, I normally just cut the ends off and I eat these. So I know you can use them in the recipe, but I usually cut the ends off and I eat those. Yummy. So normally some people cut it like this, and then they put butter and then they set them on. But I'm going to show you how I do it. So I actually cut it in half like this, and then I cut it into cubes, like about 1 inch to 1.5 inches, and there they are. So I'm going to keep cutting the entire loaf down the middle. This is how I do it, and then just you'll make 6 little squares. And I think personally, I mean, it's myself, my own thought, that it's easier to get out of the dish when it's small square cubes. So I'm going to continue cutting this whole loaf, and then I'm going to show you what I do. I usually spray butter on before we put it in the oven. So make sure you stop right now and put your oven on to 375, which I already have mine on. Okay, I'm all done cutting up the bread. Look how beautiful and cubed it looks. Now I had an idea. So this is the idea I came up with. I got this spray butter, and what I'm going to do is start spraying each one, and it's okay if you get it on the pan. Spray each one, and we want to get these all full of butter. Not a lot of butter, but just a little bit so they can be nice and tasty and toasted. And then we are going to plop this in the oven for about 20 minutes at 375, but you want to be checking your bread because you want to make sure it doesn't get too overcooked, but we want it cooked and toasted because we don't want this to get all soggy when we put the syrup. Now let's go over here and look at the syrup. It's a rolling boil, and I'm just going to stir it just a little bit, but I'm putting it to a low simmer, and meanwhile the bread is toasting in the oven. This will be cooking for about 20 minutes, and I will be back. So here it is, all cut up and all with the butter on top, and now I'm putting it in the oven at 375 for 20 minutes approximately, but you want to check it. So here it goes, and they'll come out all toasted. Okay, it's been about 20 minutes, so I'm checking, and I've checked already. I'm just gonna let you know I peeked, and I'm pulling it out, and it is totally toasted. Now I'm gonna set this here and let it cool just for a little bit, and then I'll be back to assemble. So the syrup is done. I've turned the flame off. Now I want to let you know that you're going to have to strain it, because remember we had the cinnamon stick and we had the cloves in there. So there they are. Do you see how they came out? So I got the cloves in there and the cinnamon stick, and we're going to just set this to the side. Now we got this beautiful syrup. Oh, it's so beautiful. We're ready to assemble. So I've buttered the dish here with butter, and we're going to start assembling. I'll be right back. So I'm assembling. I'm going to get some of these breadcrumbs here, and we're going to put them on the bottom. We're going to make a bottom layer, and we're going to lay them flat, and we're going to start putting. I'm just going to do a very small batch. I know people for parties, they make huge batches, but I'm going to make a small batch. So I have them all laying sideways here, and you just try to get a whole thick layer on the bottom here. So just scrunch in every one that will fit. And now we're going to get some of this beautiful syrup, and we're going to pour it till it's pretty much, we've got it soaked. I don't know if you can see here. We're soaking pretty much every, and we're going to soak it. Ooh, look how pretty. I'm going to put that sideways, and I'm going to stick another one in there. You want to make a kind of a layer. So here we go with this beautiful syrup. We've got a whole nice layer. So now what we're going to do next is we are going to start layering. I'm going to put some peanuts. Now you don't have to put peanuts if you're allergic. You don't have to put peanuts. Okay, I'm putting peanuts, but you can put any other nut that you want. I know some people put pecans, some people put almonds, but I'm going to put peanuts today. And then I'm also going to put some raisins. We're going to put raisins in, and we're just going to get a little even layer, not too many. I mean, I don't know if you love raisins or if you love a lot of peanuts, just do it to your preference. And I'm going to add another one in there. I just want to make sure I have a complete bottom layer here. And I'll add some more syrup. I'm going to get a complete layer here. So the next thing you're going to do is this. I know a lot of people go, oh my gosh, are you serious? You're putting cheese, but this is what they do. Now you can put yellow sharp cheddar cheese, or you can use the white Monterey Jack cheese, but believe it or not, it's going to taste amazing with this cheese layer. You're not even going to know that it's in there because it's going to be so delicious. So now we're going to go back to building the other layer, and I will be look how beautiful, and it's perfect in this 8x8 dish. So some people top it with the cheese on top, but I'm not going to do that. So I used about 2.5 cups of the syrup, but I have to tell you that we're going to put this in for about 20 minutes. At that point, we're going to uncover it, and we're going to put a little more juice. But I have to tell you that we're going to need to get foil, and I'll be right back to show you. Okay, we're going to need to cover it with the foil, but I want to let you know that you're going to need to spray the top of the foil with some, I have some coconut oil here, because we don't want it to stick on the top of this beautiful. We're going to cover it like this, and we're going to put it in the oven for 20 minutes, and then we're going to uncover it and leave it for another 15 to 20 minutes. So it's going in at 350 for 20 minutes. I'll be back. Okay, I had an idea. I had some bread pudding in Visalia at Tommy's. I want to give a shout out because he actually has won the contest for the best Mexican bread pudding. So he always has this little sauce that he puts on top. So that's why I had you put 5 cups of water when we were boiling all the cinnamon and the cloves and everything, because you'll have this left over. So I want to show you how to make a quick syrup so that when you give the dish, I gave my friend the dish the other day, I put it in a container and then I sent her with some extra little syrup, because if you heat it up in the microwave it can become dry, so you want it to stay moist. So here we go, I'm going to show you how to do this. So this is the leftover water that I did with the cloves. I'm putting a 1/4 teaspoon of Mexican vanilla, and then I'm gonna put, I have 1 tablespoon here of water and a 1/2 teaspoon of cornstarch. So this is just gonna be to thicken up this sauce so it becomes like a syrup consistency. I'm going to put the syrup, or the water actually, back in the pan. We're gonna turn it on and we're gonna put this cornstarch mixture in there and we're going to stir it. Okay, so I have it on high and we're just going to cook it for just a couple of minutes till it starts to boil, then just turn it off and let it sit, and it's going to thicken into a nice beautiful syrup. It's been 20 minutes. I'm taking the foil off, and at this point we need another 20 minutes, but I have reserved some of the water and we're going to put a little more because we want it to not dry out and want to make sure it's going to be moist and fluffy. And now putting it back in uncovered for another 20 minutes. So here it is. I took it out of the oven after 20 minutes, and this is what you want: lightly browned around the edges, crispy and yet soft. So I am going to show you what I do. I sprinkle a little bit of powdered sugar just for some looks and presentation, and then I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna cut some out so you can see. I want you to see it though. I'm going to cut it kind of in a little, it doesn't always come out as perfect as possible, and I'm trying to always cut a big piece, which I shouldn't, but here's a little piece. So there it is with the beautiful, I'm gonna sprinkle a little more just to make it look pretty. And then I'm going to actually try it, and you're going to see how wonderful this is. The perfect cinnamon syrup in there, nice and warm, and you want to serve this warmed. So I will be back to show you something really quick. Okay, so remember we made that syrup on the side with some cornstarch. Now I was telling you, I'm going to take this to my mother-in-law and I'm going to cover this up, and I'm going to take her a little extra syrup to put on the side, so when they microwave it to warm it, it won't dry out. And I also have to tell you, when I was younger, this is how we used to eat it. My grandma and them used to make it, and they'd serve it to us like this in the styrofoam cups. So I hope you enjoyed this show. It was absolutely wonderful to make this Mexican dish, and you're going to love it. You're going to have to try it. Thank you so much for spending time with me on the show today. Today, the scripture of the day is Matthew 18:19, and I want to leave you with the scripture. It says, if any two agree and ask in his name, it shall be done. So I just want to give you an opportunity to go ahead and leave your prayer request in the comment section below the description, because I want to agree with you today and I want to pray for your needs. And I am looking forward to seeing your prayer requests, because I want to agree and pray with you. And thank you so much. And I hope you try this wonderful Mexican iconic dish. And I will see you next time. Bye.